Guys, welcome to this live session by Intellipaat, and in this session, this is the third session of the day, and in this session we'll be looking into an AWS DevOps hands-on, and I'll be teaching you the basics about all the AWS DevOps tools. So we'll be looking into that. First, let's look at the agenda of today's session, then let's move ahead. So first we'll start off with the introduction to AWS DevOps, because in the last session, in the 6 p.m. session, we already saw what is AWS and what is DevOps. So I think you have an idea about that. So we will look into the introduction. Once that is done, we'll move on to AWS developer tools and learn about code commit, code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. Finally, we'll do a hands-on using code pipeline. We'll be using code pipeline. We'll be integrating two other services. One would be GitHub and one would be Elastic Beanstalk. So using those services, we'll create a simple CI/CD pipeline where whenever there is a code change happening in the GitHub repository, so the code pipeline will automatically detect it and make the change in Elastic Beanstalk also. So finally, we'll summarize it, and also I'll show you how to get started if you want to learn AWS DevOps or any other technology. So first, let's start with introduction to AWS DevOps. Okay, so first of all, what is it? So AWS DevOps is not a single tool. It is a group of developer tools. So it is a set of developer tools which allows a user to create a CI/CD pipeline from the source stage, which is the GitHub repository or any repository or the code. So from the source stage to the deploy stage, that is deploying that application to a production environment. So you can create a complete CI/CD pipeline using the developer tools provided by AWS. So why should you go with AWS for DevOps? There are so many different tools. There are third-party tools. There is Azure DevOps, but why should you go with AWS for DevOps? First of all, fully managed services. So all of the services provided by AWS here are completely managed and they provide you a lot of benefits. So code commit, code build, all are completely managed. You'll just have to mention what you need from them. And so let's say if you want to monitor the process which is going on, it will be automatically done by AWS. You'll just have to go to the dashboard and look into it. Built for scale, so auto scaling is available. You can enable that. Programmable, that is, you can change what you want. For example, let's say you don't want to build a particular file, you can put that in code. Anyways, AWS developer tools will read that code and whatever is in that code will be executed. So it is programmable. Automation, yes, that's why we need DevOps. We are automating the software development lifecycle. So using developer tools provided by AWS, we can do that. Secure, so AWS, obviously they invest in cloud security, so it is secure. And finally, pay as you go. So you can start off with the services for free at the beginning. So there is a limit in the free tier. You can check that out. So you can start off with it for free, then move ahead if you want to use a lot of it. If you're going to consume it a lot, then you can go with the pay as you go model, where you will be paying only for what you use. So we saw why AWS for DevOps. Now let's look into the developer tools. So these four are the main tools. The first one is code commit, code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. So we'll look into these services individually. So code commit is a version control tool, code build is a building tool, code deploy is a deployment tool, and finally code pipeline is a CI/CD pipeline creation tool. So let's start off with the basic. So this is how the dashboard will look if you open the AWS developer tools. You have four tools: source, build, deploy, pipeline, code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline. And now let's look into first code commit. So code commit is a version control tool. If you know GitHub or Bitbucket or any other version control tool, it's similar to that. It's almost the same, but instead it is provided by AWS, and you can have up to 5 active users for free if you're using it in your free tier period, but it's always free. As well as you get 50 GB of storage per month. If it is a small project, you can store your code for free forever, and also 10,000 Git requests per month of free. So exceeding that, you will be you will be billed a little. So code commit is a version control tool provided by AWS, and it provides a lot of free features, and these are those free features. Next is code build. So AWS Code Build is a fully managed continuous integration service. So continuous integration in the sense, whenever there is a code change, it will automatically detect it and build the code. So that compiles source code, runs tests, and produces software packages that are ready to deploy. So you can use code build. So you can use code build to build your code directly, taking it from GitHub or code commit, and also test them. So once it is done, you can push your code into code deploy. So that's what you're able to see here. There is AWS code build, and you get 100 build minutes. It's not the time you're using it, it's basically the time which it is taking to build. So let's say if one build is completing within 10 seconds, so you will have 100 build minutes per month. Okay, so we've seen that. So what are the features of AWS code build? Why should you go with AWS code build when there are so many different tools? First of all, it's fully managed. AWS will take care of everything. It eliminates setup, patch, update, managing your servers. So you don't need to install any softwares. You will just have to create a build, and once you've created a code build, basically code build application, you can just upload your code, it will build it for you. Continuous scaling, it already has scaling in, it's inbuilt. So it scales up and scales down according to your needs, and it immediately processes each build. That is, whenever a build is complete, it will be processed and pushed into the next part of the pipeline. It can be another build with the test in it, or it can be code deploy. Next is pay as you go. So this I don't need to explain once again. So it's basically you will get billed only for the minutes you have used code build. And finally, extensible. So you can bring your own build tools and programming runtimes. That is, you can include third-party tools. It's not required that you can only use AWS services. You can also integrate with other services and also pre-existing environments. That is, you can use the pre-existing environments, or you can also include third-party tools, and you can connect it with code build and build your application. So you've seen code build as well. Next is code deploy. So this is an automated deployment tool which can deploy to services like EC2, Lambda, Elastic Beanstalk, and even your on-premises instance. So we will be deploying it to Beanstalk. We are not going to deploy it to EC2 or Lambda. We'll be directly deploying it to Beanstalk. So code deploy again. Why should you use code deploy? Is because code deploy is a service which is fully managed. You can automate deployments. That is, you can show where should this code be deployed, and it will automatically deploy it for you whenever there is a new code change. Minimize downtime. That is, your previous website will still be running. Code deploy will only push the new code if it is successfully built. If it is not successful, then it will not push the code. So your old website will still be running. Only if the build is successful, the code will be pushed into the service which you have integrated with code deploy, like EC2 or Lambda or Beanstalk. Centralized control, you have one management console or the CLI, and you can manage all your tasks and track your progress using it. Finally, EC2 adopt. So that is, if you know Amazon EC2 or AWS, if you have worked with AWS or any cloud service, it's very simple to start off with code deploy itself. So we've seen code commit, code deploy, and code pipeline. Code build and code deploy. So now let's look into code pipeline and what it exactly does. So let's say code pipeline is a service in which you will have to incorporate all the other services which we saw about. So in the source part, it would be the code commit, that is the version control tool. And in the build and test part, it would be code build, which you can use for building as well as testing. And finally, code deploy can be used for the staging environment as well as the production environment. But to maintain all of these services and to keep them in a chronological order, you will have to use AWS Code Pipeline, which is used to do exactly that. It is a continuous delivery tool which is fully managed by AWS, which you can use to automate your releases for rapid and reliable deployment. So let's say if the code is proper and if the build is successful, it will move to test. Let's say the test fails. So if it fails, that code will not be moved to the staging environment. It would have been stopped there. And again, you can build it once again by changing the code. And then once the test is successful, the code will be pushed to staging so that there is no errors you will have to face after it moves to production. Okay, so we've seen why use code pipeline. I'll also show you how simple it is to start off with code pipeline. So now again, why code pipeline? First of all, rapid delivery. It's pretty simple. Once you've mentioned, it automatically delivers your code into the mentioned deployment service. Configurable workflow, you can select which service should be first, which should be second. For example, if you want to test your code then build it, you can do that, but it's not logical, but I'm just saying for an example. If you want to build and then test and then deploy and then again test once again and then again deploy it to the production environment, you can do that as well. So get started fast. It's pretty simple. That's what I'll be showing you, how to start with this. And finally, easy to integrate. It's very easy to integrate with external services like GitHub. It's just a matter of a few clicks. And also you can include Jenkins, you can include Docker, you can include any DevOps tool you want, and you can integrate it with AWS pipelines. So we've learned about these services. So right now I'll open the management console and I'll show you around. What we're going to do is, first of all, I'll open the management console, show you how exactly the developer tools page looks. Once that is done, I'll show you how to create an application in Elastic Beanstalk, and then how to integrate GitHub with Code Pipeline, and also how to create a simple CI/CD pipeline. So you will learn all these in this session. So let's start with the first part of this session. That is, so this is in Elastic Beanstalk. I'll open another tab. I'll open the developer tools page. So let's say if I just type in developer, so it shows all the developer tools over here. Let me click on code commit. So this will take me to the code commit service. So let's say, let me click here and click on developer tools. So this is how the front page will look like. You can see here create pipeline. You can start off with it immediately, and you can see the benefits and features over here. You can see our other services. You can see code deploy. There is one more tool called AWS Code Star. So this will enable you to quickly deploy, build, and so basically develop. You can also develop over here. It's not required that you'll have to develop in your local system and then push it. So you can develop here as well. And also it provides an unified interface. So it is very easy to manage your software development activities. That is, it may be a web development, so it can be a website or an Android application. So everything you can code in CodeStar, as well as you can build and deploy it using the help of code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. Okay, so this is the main page. So let me open the code commit page and show you. So let me click on repositories. Right now there is no repository, but if you want to create one, like how you create in GitHub, it's very easy. Just click here, provide a repository name, and create. So let's do that. Anyway, I'm not going to use this, but still I'll show you how to start off with this so that you have an idea. So I'm providing a name as practice and clicking on create. So it's created, but one more thing you'll have to remember is you will not be able to use code commit from your root account, because AWS considers it as unsafe. So you'll not be able to use it from your root account. You will have to create an IAM user and then log in to use your code commit repositories. So here you can see, coming down, you can create files here, or you can start coding here, or you can also upload files over here. So you can see, also you can clone this URL to your local system and push a local repository into this. So I'm not going to do any of that because I already have a repository. I'll show you that. And then coming to code build, just close this. So you can see getting started, you will have to create a build project. I already have multiple build projects, but I'm not using any of them right now. So let me click on one, and you can see the source provider, and you can see the last times I've used this, it was succeeded. So you can also check the build details. So it's pretty simple to create a build. So right now I'm clicking on start build because this build is already available. So I'm not going to do that. So to create a build, it's pretty simple. Just go ahead, click on create build, choose the service, provide the file name which has to be built. So let's say, where is it? 1 second. So let me click on create build project. So you'll have to provide the name and you'll have to choose your source. So let's say if you want to choose GitHub, you can choose GitHub as well. Okay, so you can do that. You can choose your repository, and you can provide the let's say the feature one, or you can provide the master branch itself. Once that is done, you will have to provide the name of the file which has to be built. So you can provide it as build spec .yml, or you can provide a name over here and provide the new name over here. So let's say if it is hello123.yaml, you can provide that over here. So this is how you can create a build. It's pretty simple. Next I'll show you deploy. So you can see deployments. Again, you can, so there were a lot of deployments I tried recently, which multiple of them failed and some of them succeeded. So most of them I deployed it on EC2. And so the thing is, first of all, you'll have to create an application. Once you create an application, within that you will be able to deploy the application. So we'll not be able to go into all of these separately in very depth, but I'll be showing you how to create pipelines in depth. So that would be learning today. You'll be learning how to use Code Pipeline and integrating GitHub and also Elastic Beanstalk with it. So before moving on with the hands-on, I'll show you the code from where to get it. So you can get it from AWS-samples/AWS-code pipeline-s3-code deploy-linux. So if you just type AWS-code pipeline-s3 in Google, you will get this repository. So just fork it. So I've already forked it. It's in my GitHub account. So I'm not going to change anything. And the only thing I'll have to show you is index.html. So it's just hello world. You can see that over here. Okay. So right now, let's create an application in Elastic Beanstalk. So if you don't know what is Elastic Beanstalk, please check our other tutorials, or let me just give you a brief example. So if you create Beanstalk, you don't need to manage the servers. You will just have to upload your code and it will automatically provision server and it will run your code and it will provide you an URL so that you can check out your website from that URL itself. It's pretty simple. So just click on create application, provide an application name. I'm going to provide as AWS YouTube Live, and I'm not going to provide any tag. I'm going to choose a platform. So it's HTML. So I'm going to go with PHP itself. That's more than enough. So if you want, you can choose the version of PHP. I'm going to go with 7.4 itself, so I'm not going to change anything. And right now it's in sample application. I'm not going to upload my code straight away. I'm going to integrate this repository with this Elastic Beanstalk application using Code Pipeline. So first let me click on create this application. So now the creation would have started. So I'm not going to do anything else over here. Let it get created. Now let's start off with Code Pipeline. So I've already opened Code Pipeline. So the initial step, click on create pipeline. So the first step would be to provide the pipeline name and provide it a role so that it can use other services. So you can see here it's creating the environment. Okay. So now let's start off with pipeline. I'm going to provide it as YouTube Live 1, and it already provided a name for itself. You don't need to provide a name for your role. So let it be the same. Next, you'll have to choose the source. So our source is going to be a repository from GitHub. So click here, you can see code commit, ECR, S3, Bitbucket and GitHub. So Bitbucket has been introduced recently. If you have your repository on Bitbucket, you can use that. So I have it on GitHub. You can also upload the zip file to S3 and directly get it from there. If you have your repository in code commit, you can choose code commit. Mine is in GitHub, so I'm going to click on GitHub. First of all, I'll have to connect with GitHub. So click on connect with GitHub. I'm already logged in, so it'll process me. If you are not logged in, it'll ask you for the username and password once you have authenticated. So you can see it has successfully authenticated your account. Now if you click here, it will show all the repositories in your GitHub account. So this is the one which you'll have to choose, and you'll have to choose the master branch because that's the only branch available. And why you'll have to choose this branch is whenever it detects a change in this particular branch, it will start the CI/CD process once again. And it's not GitHub webhooks. You'll have to choose AWS Code Pipeline because Code Pipeline is going to check whether the code has been changed in your GitHub repository or not frequently. So once provided that, click on next. So we are not going to build it, and you can see it's optional. It's not required that you'll have to build. If your code is already built, then there's no need for building it in code build as well. So I'm going to skip this stage. Now deploy. So in deploy stage, using code deploy, you can deploy it in multiple forms. One is CloudFormation. If you have a stack, you can deploy in CloudFormation. Then there is code deploy. So code deploy is basically you can integrate code deploy with EC2, and then because there is no you cannot directly deploy it into EC2, you will have to code deploy to deploy it into EC2. Then there is Beanstalk, OpsWorks stacks, Service Catalog, Alexa, ECS and S3. So right now we are going to push it into AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So let me click here. So let's first see whether it's created or not. Let me just refresh it. So it's still getting created. Yeah, it's been created. So if you want to check whether it is created and the website is running successfully, click on this URL. It will show a sample site which shows congratulations. So this is the sample site. Okay, so now our Elastic Beanstalk is running successfully. So the thing is, we are not going to upload and deploy directly. Code Pipeline will do that for us. So let me show you how. Okay, so I've selected Beanstalk. So you'll have to select the region. Mine is in North Virginia. And then this is the only application right now which is available. Then my environment. So I have only one environment, which is AWS YouTube Live -env. So this is the one. Okay, so now I'm going to click next. So this is the final step, review. So you can see this is the pipeline settings. Source is from GitHub. It is third-party GitHub. This is the repository. I'm the owner and master branch. So no build. And in deploy, I'm going to deploy it into Elastic Beanstalk. So let me click on create pipeline. So it will take some time to start off with it. First, it will start building the GitHub repository. So once click on create pipeline, first right now it will be setting up the pipeline. Once the pipeline is set up, you can see congratulations, the pipeline has been created. Once this is done, first it will be gathering the code from the source, which is this repository. So once this turns green, so right now it turned green, succeeded. So let me click here. It will take me to the latest commit. So this is the latest commit. So it takes me over there. Okay, so it downloads the latest code made because it takes the latest commit, and then it starts deploying the code into Elastic Beanstalk. So right now it's deploying. It will take some time. So once it is completed, we'll be able to go over here, and when we click over here, it will show the updated website which would have hello world in it. So let's see that. Let's wait for some time. So it's still loading. It's in blue. So blue is basically in progress. Once it is in progress, so once it is succeeded, we'll be able to see that. You can also click here. It will take you to the Elastic Beanstalk console, and this is the commit number, commit ID. So you can click here to check that. This is the pipeline execution ID. So you can see the history, how many times the pipeline has run as well. Okay, it's still running. Let us check once, because sometimes even though before showing succeed over here, it would have been completed. Let me click here, and it's completed. Actually, it's showing hello world. So it's still running here because there is some other processes also running. So let me just refresh this and check whether it has completed. Yeah, so it has deployment also has been completed, and you can see hello world over here. But how to test whether this is a CI/CD pipeline, that is, whenever the code changes, how will the website will be changed? So now it's, let's say it is hello world. So without doing any change, I'm going to make one small change in my code in this particular repository, and I'm going to commit it into the master branch. Once that is done, you will be able to see. So I'm just going to type updated content using a code pipeline. So I've provided that. I'm not going to create another branch. I'm going to directly commit it into master branch. Okay, so that is done. So let's see if whether the source turns blue. So if it turns blue, basically it has recorded that there has been a change in the source code in the repository. So once that is taken into that is checked by code pipeline, it will turn blue and it will start showing it is in progress. So once it is in progress, you will be able to see this, that once that is succeeded, then you will be able to see it is in progress over here, and when we refresh the page here, you will be able to see the latest change. So this succeeded, and you can see the commit ID. Let me click here. It will show the latest commit, so you can see the latest commit, and deployment is in progress. Let's see whether it has succeeded. And yes, you can see that updated content using code pipeline, and it has been successful. And you can see the only change I made was over here in the GitHub repository. I didn't make any change in Elastic Beanstalk or in code pipeline. The only change I made was in the code. So code pipeline automatically read that change, pushed that change into deploy, and it deployed it into the Elastic Beanstalk application. So guys, this is the hands-on which I wanted to show you in this session. I think you understood a lot. So now let's move on to the PPT and let's finish the session. So now it is how to get started. This is the end of the session. So first of all, how to get started would be a question once you've seen this. That is, let's say if you want to get into AWS DevOps or any other technology, first of all, you'll have to invest something. So an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. So you can interest either the time which you have or money. So if you invest time, you can go with free services which we provide, like Intellipaat blog or our YouTube channel, where we have a lot of courses. You can check both of them. And also we provide a free Intellipaat Academy site where you can get free courses. So these are the two free things we give you. So let me show that. First of all, it's intellipaat.com/blog, and you can see over here, you can check out all the technologies over here. And let's say cloud computing, click on it, it will show the latest articles, and you can go ahead, start learning them. We also provide written tutorials. You can see over here, there is AWS SAS data science. So okay, I've shown you blogs. You can check out our blogs. Then you are currently watching this live in our YouTube channel or in the webinar which we are taking up. So if you're watching it on our YouTube channel, you would know that we have a lot of videos in our channel. You can go check that out. Also, we have come up with intellipaat.com/academy, and this is a free course site. You can check out over here. We provide you 12 free courses for now. And let's say if you want to join in the Java course, click here, click on take this course, and you can log in with Facebook or Google, or you can also sign up by registering over here. So once you've logged in, it's pretty simple. You will be given the access to it, and you can start off with practicing it. Okay, so we've done that. So the next thing is, so this is for people who want to just invest their time. If you want industry experience, as well as if you want to be trained by industry professionals, you can check out our main site. We also provide PG courses. You can check that out. So if you want to take up an AWS DevOps course, just come over here, search for it. So you can see the other courses, and there is AWS DevOps. And you can check out a preview of our course video. Coming down, you can see what we teach. So this is what we saw in the 6 p.m. Live session. These are the topics which would be expected by the AWS exam. So these are the topics. For example, you will get questions from SDLC automation. So 22% of the questions from the examination will be from this topic. Okay, so you can check out all that. Coming down, you can check out the course fees. You can check out when it is available. You can check out the content which we provide, and you can also check out the projects. We provide you multiple projects. You can check out all the projects. And also, going up, we also provide you a certification from Intellipaat, as well as for all the courses which are in collaboration with IBM, we will provide you an IBM accredited certification. So once that is done, we also provide you, once you've completed the course successfully, we can provide you job assistance, and we can also provide you 24/7 access and also lifetime course material. So once that is done, I think you got the point. If you want to invest time, you can go with our blogs, with our YouTube channel, with our free courses. You can also take up our online training from our official site. Okay, so when that is done, coming over here, so If you are currently looking for an industry professional training, you can take up our courses from our channel and from our website. So if you want a 30% discount, you can check out our coupon code, which is YouTube30. You can just put it on our official site and get a flat 30% discount on any course which you want to take up. So do this right now if you want to take it up. This is for only the watchers who are currently watching live, because only you would know this coupon code. So go ahead and use this. And we've come to the end of the session. I hope you learned a lot from the session. Call us at these numbers or drop a mail to sales@intellipaat.com or start a chat with us in the official site in the right bottom corner, and we'll get back to you immediately. So thank you for attending this session. Meet you in the next session.